Hi everyone. When I say equation of a geometric object, like equation of a line or equation of a circle, what does this mean? This means that we are trying to represent this object algebraically. In other words, an equation involving coordinates specifies the set of points on this geometric object. Or, more simply, this equation describes the relation between the coordinates of the points which belong to the geometric object. Let me give you an example. Let us consider this straight line. If we look at the points on this line, we notice the following. If you look at the point 3, 4, we see that 4, which is the y of the point, is equal to the x of the point, which is 3 plus 1. Similarly, if you look at 0, 1, again, 1 is equal to 0 plus 1. So for any point we pick on the line, we will always notice that the y of this point is equal to the x of this point plus 1, which means in general we have y is equal to x plus 1, and this is the equation of our line, which describes the specific relation between the coordinates of the points on this line. So that is what an equation of a geometric object is. Let us now explore what does an equation of a circle look like. If we have a circle with center HK and radius R, what is a special feature of a circle? Well, if I choose any point on the circumference, we notice that the distance between this point, xy, and the center is always the radius r. So that is the special feature of the points on the circumference. This means that we can apply the distance formula. So the distance, which is r, is equal to the square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2, which is k all squared. Let us square both sides. This gives us x minus h to the power of 2 plus y minus k to the power of 2 is equal to r to the power of 2, and this is the equation of a circle. X minus h to the power of 2 plus y minus k to the power of 2 is equal to r to the power of 2, and we say that this is the standard form of the equation of a circle. For example, if we have a circle with center 2, negative 3, and radius, let's say 5, this means that h is 2, k is negative 3, and r, of course, is 5. So, x minus h, that's x minus 2 to the power of 2, plus y minus k, so it is y minus negative 3 all to the power of 2, is equal to 5 to the power of 2, and we get x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared is equal to 25, and this is the equation of our circle. Now, what happens if we expand this expression? So we get x squared minus 2hx plus h squared plus y squared minus 2ky plus k squared is equal to r to the power of 2. Let us bring r squared to the other side. Then let us regroup the terms of the equation and let h squared plus k squared minus r squared equal to c. So we obtain the following equation. And this is the general form of the equation of a circle. Now, if we look at the terms of this equation, we notice the following. We notice that the x-coordinate of the center of the circle is the coefficient of x divided by minus 2. And the y-coordinate of the center of the circle is the coefficient of y over negative 2. Moreover, in order to find the radius of the circle, we use this relation. So we have c is equal to h squared plus k squared minus r squared, which means r is equal to the square root of h squared plus k squared minus c. And this is how we extract the center and the radius of a circle from the general form. But I have to make sure that the coefficients of x squared and y squared are 1. If they are not 1, then I have to divide the entire equation by this coefficient, as you will see in the next example. So if we have this equation which represents a circle, how do I find the center and the radius? There are two methods. The first method is to use the formulas that I just showed you, and the second method is to complete the squares. And I'm going to apply both methods. So the first step is to make sure that the coefficients of x squared and y squared are 1, but they are not 1, they are 2, which means I have to divide the entire equation by 2. But someone might ask, well, is it always the case that the coefficients of x squared and y squared are the same? The answer is, if the coefficients of x squared and y squared are not the same, this means that this relation does not represent a circle. So for example, if we have, let's say, 3x squared plus 5y squared plus etc., this means that we're not talking about a circle here, we are talking about an ellipse, which is not the topic in this video, but I just wanted to add this remark. Alright, so first of all, we divide the entire equation by 2, and we end up with this expression. Now let us apply the formulas to find h, k, and r. So h is the coefficient of x, which is minus 4, divided by minus 2, that is 2. K is the coefficient of y divided by 2, so it is equal to 7 over 2, all of it divided by negative 2. We can write negative 2 as negative 2 over 1, so this becomes 7 over 2 multiplied by the reciprocal of negative 2 over 1, which is 1 over negative 2, and we end up with 7 over negative 4. What about r? We have to find c. What is c? It is negative half. So r squared is equal to h squared plus k squared minus c. That is equal to 2 squared plus 7 over negative 4 squared minus c, so it's negative minus half. We work this out, we find a common denominator, and we get 121 over 16. Therefore, r is the square root of what we got, and that is 11 over 4. Let us now solve this question using the second method, which is completing the squares. So again, first of all, I have to divide the entire equation by the coefficients of x squared and y squared, which is 2. Then, we move the negative half to the other side. So this becomes like this. Then, let us put the x's next to each other as well as the y's. And now we complete the squares. So the coefficient of x is negative 4. As I explained in a previous video, to complete the squares, we have to divide the coefficient of x by 2, so that is negative 2, and then square it, so you end up with plus 4. But of course, I cannot just add 4 like this because the equation is going to change. In order not to change the equation, I have to add the same number on the other side. Similarly, I divide the coefficient of y by 2, so that is 7 over 2 over 2, which is 7 over 4, and then I square it. So it becomes 49 over 16, and I add it again on both sides. Now we obtain a perfect square here as well as here. So the first perfect square is x minus 2 to the power of 2, plus the second perfect square is y plus 7 over 4, all of it to the power of 2, is equal to, we find a common denominator here and we get 121 over 16. And what is this? Well, this is the standard form of the equation of the circle. So if we compare it with x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared, we see that negative h is equal to negative 2, which means h is equal to 2. Negative k is equal to 7 over 4, which means k is equal to negative 7 over 4, and r squared is equal to 121 over 16, which means r is equal to the square root of this number, that is equal to 11 over 4. Therefore, we obtain the center, that is hk, which is 2 and negative 7 over 4, and the radius, which is 11 over 4. And this is how we find the center and the radius of a circle by completing the squares. Let us do this exercise. So we are asked to find an equation of a circle with diameter whose endpoints are 3, 5, and 2, 7. Let us do a rough graph. So that is a circle, and this is the diameter. One of the endpoints is 3, 5, and the other one is 2, 7. And I repeat, this is a rough graph. Of course, if we plot the coordinates of the point properly, it doesn't look like that, but I just did a quick graph in order to see what is going on. Now, in order to find an equation of a circle, we need the center, which is hk, as well as the radius. But we neither have the center nor we have the radius. But we should notice that the center is the midpoint of the diameter. So we have to apply the midpoint formula. This means that h is equal to x1 plus x2 over 2, which is 3 plus 2 over 2, and that is 5 over 2. K is equal to y1 plus y2 over 2, and this is 5 plus 7 over 2, which is equal to 6. What about the radius? We can either find the length of the diameter and divide it by 2, or we can find the distance between the center and one of the endpoints, and this will be the radius. I will choose to find the distance between the center and the point 2, 7. So r is equal, we apply the distance formula, so that is the square root of x1, which is 5 over 2, minus x2, that is 2 all to the power of 2, plus y2, that is 6, minus y1, that is 7, all of it to the power of 2. And this gives us the square root of 1 over 2 all squared, plus negative 1 all squared, that is equal to 1 over 4 plus 1, and it is equal to the square root of 5 over 4, which is the square root of 5 over 2, and we've got the radius. Therefore, the equation of the circle becomes x minus h squared, which is x minus 5 over 2 squared, plus y minus k squared, which is y minus 6 squared, is equal to the radius squared, and that is equal to 5 over 4, and this is the equation of the circle.